into cybersecurity, there's a ton of content out there, and if you don't know where to start, it can be overwhelming, even paralyzing. So let's fix that. Welcome to Simply Cyber, a community of tens of thousands of aspiring and active cybersecurity professionals focused on networking, knowledge sharing, and professional development. I'm Dr. Gerald Dozier, Chief Content Creator at Simply Cyber, inviting you to get the answers to your cybersecurity problems with hundreds of cybersecurity videos answering your frequently asked questions, interviewing industry experts, and live streaming daily cyber threat briefings hosted by me. Now get the stories and insights you won't find anywhere else. Hit subscribe now and dig into all the fresh content on the channel and in the community. Nothing should stop you from launching and leveling up your cybersecurity career today. All right, people, what's up? How we doing? Welcome everybody to the very first workshop of the Simply CyberCon 2023, our inaugural event. I see 66 of you beautiful people here today. This is fantastic. What's up, misty-eyed security Steve? Margarita Garone, Charisse Lamb, Philip Martin, Nick Barker in the green, with the blue badge, and Emilio Garcia, Gabe Lister. Guys, we got a great workshop for you today. We are joined by none other than my good friend and Simply Cyber community member, Charles Finfrock, and he is going to be showing you today how to OSINT like a boss. Believe that when I tell you that it's going to be exceptional, I mean it, okay? So Charles has got a great session planned for you all. I think there is going to be some hands-on activity, some follow along. So definitely get a pen and paper out. You will be able to follow along and see what he's doing, but he's going to be dropping so many tools, so many knowledge bombs, so much goodness that I'm excited personally to be able to produce this stream. And on top of that, I am going to be following along right there with y'all. So without further ado, let's bring in our good friend, Charles. What's up, Charles? How you doing?
I'm awesome, Jerry. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. If you can get a mic a little closer, or we could bump up your gain a little bit, let's do that.
How about
How's
that?
your microphone? Go ahead and
How about
talk.
that? How about now?
All right. Let's see. Let me ask chat. Chat, how is Charles's audio? We need your audio crispy, Charles, so we can get you.
Can you hear me now? If not, I've got windows on behind me. I can drop those dudes down.
No. I don't think putting the blinds down on the windows is going to make
No.
I
Actually, have the windows open. I don't want to be all sweaty for you, but
No. You're good. That's not going to change your microphone volume, so we're good. It looks like everybody. Hey, for the people who voted, 100% say yes. And the funny thing is, Charles, I asked, "How is Charles' audio?" Yes, no, complete bonehead thing. All right, so obviously I'm a premium producer up in here asking dumb questions at chat. All right, guys. So without further ado, Charles, thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for kicking off Simply CyberCon 2023. I will turn it over to you. Do you want me to I'll be producing, so if you need anything, you want your slides shared, etc. But I'll step off stage and I'll be back here if you need me. Okay.
Sounds great. And hey, guys, I'm going to try this. This is the first time I've used this streaming platform. So if there's something funky with it, just bear with me. I'm going to be toggling between several screens because I want to show you my presentation and I want to show you going through some of this stuff live. So bear with me, would you? The other thing, I got these pretty sweet blue blocker glasses from Black Hat or DEF CON this year. Don't recall which. Pimping for Dark Trace. My boy works over there. Not only I like them because it frankly makes it a lot harder to capture my face and try to facial recognition me. So, the other thing I don't like about this real stream, I self-identify as a 28-year-old, and for some reason it gives me a little gray in my beard. It's weird. All right, let's get into it, man. Can you see my slide? Jerry, can you see the slide? All right,
yeah,
let's do it.
Slides are up now.
Awesome. All right, guys, so here's what we're doing. When I talk about my OSINT team, when I'm like, man, let me tell you what's up with my OSINT ninjas, because I have some absolute OSINT ninjas. Now, I'm cheating because these guys used to hunt terrorists down and used to hunt spies down and used to do some really badass work for the government. And so when I call them ninjas, man, I call them ninjas because we were ninjas. And so here's the dealio. I'm not going to make you a ninja today, but I am going to give you a couple of tools, a couple of techniques that my ninjas use, right? To get us started, and you go right from there. Cool. All right. So OSINT Ninja Basics. That's what we're doing here today. All right, let's get going with it. All right, cool. I wrote this big, long disclaimer. Basically, it says, I'm going to give you some tools. Do the right thing. Okay, do the right thing. And whatever you determine the right thing to be, that's cool. But I am not giving you this information so that you can go out there and stalk your ex-girlfriend and break a bunch of laws and any of that kind of stuff. And I will tell you something cool, too. I was starting to write this up, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to lawyer it up and blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, what am I, an animal? What is this, 2015? Claude AI, bro. Write this for me. And then Claude says, brr, and writes it. And I copy it and put it in here. So there you go. So all that says, give it a good read, but it just says basically, be cool. Man, that's the golden rule when you're hanging out with me. Just be cool. And Claude says that in a lot more language. Just be cool. All right. Here's what we're going to do, right? This is our OSINT Ninja 101 course. We're going to talk about mission preparation first. Second, we're going to talk about one of the arts of the ninja, and that is stealth. That is how to protect yourself, how to move invisibly on the interwebs. Third, I'm going to give you a couple of throwing stars. I'm going to give you 3 of them that you can use for particular OSINT cases. And we're going to actually then dive into a case study where we're going to talk very specifically about an active investigation that I have going on right now. You guys are going to help me out with it. This is as real as it gets. So let's dive in. Oh, and if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. Jerry's watching the chat. I'm watching the chat. If you've got a question, chances are somebody else has got it too. So just throw it right in there. Will the slide deck be available? Great question. I don't know. Let me think about it. We'll see how it goes through on this. Okay, let's get started. Mission prep. Guys, just like anything else, and in my old world, I used to work for the government, prep. You got to plan prep, right? So first, when we're talking about OSINT, it's like any other mission, right? What are you trying to do? What is your mission? Are you trying to find a name to a face? Are you trying to find a face to a name? Are you trying to determine if a name is a legitimate name, if it's a real name? Are you trying to find someone on, Meet My Grinder date fish site? Hey, is this person I'm in love with a real person or not? So what's your mission? Because frankly, that changes a lot of how you're going to do it, right? So first, what's your mission? 2, you got to develop a playbook or a checklist. Good OSINT, like good int, is an art, right? This isn't science. For me, it's an art. And all the artists do it a little bit differently. So what's your technique? Now, partly, what are you trying to do, right? That determines what kind of playbook or what kind of checklist you have. But then once you've figured out, right, if Misty-Eyed, we're trying to figure out who's stalking Misty-Eyed, we're going to plan what we're going to do and how we're going to go after it. And just like they say in diving and a lot of other things, plan your work and work your plan. It is really easy doing OSINT to disappear down a rabbit hole. And next thing you know, you've spent 4 hours and you are nowhere closer to where you want to be, right? That's why it's important to know where you want to go, develop a checklist or a playbook, plan it, follow that plan. But again, always begin with the end in mind. What is a win? What are we trying to do here? If I'm trying to determine if someone's legitimate or not, do I care about their first grade pictures? Not really, right? I need to get exactly where I need to go. And if it's a business, not any farther, not any less. Get as much as you need and then some, and then roll off. Okay, so that's 1 on mission prep. 2, let's talk a little bit about the art of invisibility. Key move for a ninja is you've got to be stealthy, man. You've got to be stealthy. So first thing, as you're determining what your mission is and what your goal is, who's your target, right? Who are you working against? Are you working against the Russians or the North Koreans or the Chinese? Well, now you better have a really solid, strong cloak of invisibility. Or are you working against a sophisticated non-state actor, maybe a criminal, somebody like that? Or are you just working against some dude who claims he's 6'4" and 195 pounds and has 12 abs and all that stuff, and he's not really going to be checking you back? He's not going to have any cyber traps or anything like that set. So who are you going against determines a lot of the next steps. Okay, so that's 1. 2, do you want to be non-attributed or misattributed? What the hell's the difference? Well, non-attributed means you can't find me back to anybody, right? You don't know who's pinging on you and you don't know who's knocking on your door. Misattribution, however, is I'm setting up a persona that I'm going to use that if someone can look back, they'll say, man, one of my favorite personas to use for things like this, I just pick a name out of the blue, like, Jerry Oger. And I just use that to set up all of my sock puppets. And that way, if they're looking for me, they're like, oh, I don't know who this Jerry guy is. Hey, that's cool, man, because they found Jerry. They didn't find me, right? So what are you trying to do, and how are you trying to attribute yourself? Yeah. All right, so there's that. Okay, let me talk about the absolute easiest ways that you can set yourself apart from the work you're doing. And this is important. Why? You don't want to come from your computer. You don't want to come from your accounts. You don't want to come from any of that stuff. Because if you're going out against a sophisticated guy like me or like other folks on this call, they're going to be able to work that back. They're going to see who was talking to them. They're going to see who was stalking them, see who was doing these searches, right? So that's the first thing you want to do, separate it. The easiest way to do it, burner phone, guys. I don't want to overcomplicate this. I've got a couple of guys on my staff that want to like double wrap a VPN and do this and that and the other. And yes, you can absolutely do that. But if you're a starting OSINT researcher, go to Walmart, take a wad of cash, buy a track phone, pay as you go. Get that $25 or $30 card that's going to give you unlimited for a month data and sell, and then possibly even put a VPN on there. But that gets you started. That absolutely gets you started. And now you've got a phone number, which you're going to have to use to do multi-factor authentication on several social media sites. But that is the easiest. Get a burner phone. If I showed you my money laundering kit back here, I don't know. I've got about 100 burner phones that are laying all around my office, and I kind of kick them over with my foot. And because I use them and lose them, use them and get rid of them, right? So that's one, burner phone. Two, burner computer. If you are working on sophisticated actors or something like that, or if you don't have a tool, like one of the tools I'm going to show you today, then you're going to want to use a burner computer. Now, I will say OSINT, you can do it really easy or you can do it really hard. The easy way is you spend a couple of bucks on a bunch of different tools and a bunch of different databases, and your life gets a hell of a lot easier. Not everybody's got a bunch of bucks to spend that with. Now you got to do some things a little bit different. But I'm going to give you sort of the middle of the road route. But a burner computer, right? New computer with a pay-as-you-go Wi-Fi puck. What does that do? It gives you access to the internet anywhere that is not connected to you. Pay as you go with cash. Again, why wouldn't you want to use your credit card? Come on, man. If you got to ask me that, use cash or Bitcoin or Monero, even better. But a Wi-Fi puck, or you can tether with that data from your phone that you paid for with cash. You can do that too. Or you can just use free internet hotspots. You lug that computer around to your Starbucks or somewhere like that. Now, a couple of other tools that you want to put on. And again, this is like, are you going to a fraternity party or are you going to a bar in Thailand? How many layers of prophylactics do you want to take with you? If you're going against higher level folks, now you're going to want to layer in a VPN that you can control the location with. At a minimum, you're going to want to go with something like a DuckDuckGo or something so you can't walk it back to your IPN you're using or your IP. You're not doing this from home. You're not logging into your home Wi-Fi. So the IP isn't necessarily going to point to you, but it can get somebody close to you. So if that's a concern, use a VPN that'll make you pop out from Europe, that'll make you pop out from Asia, that'll make you pop out from wherever the hell you're not, right? DuckDuckGo is free. Proton VPN is cheap. I like that one quite a bit. Let me give you one of the considerations when you're talking about the art of invisibility, and that is not associating your true name, location, your true name phone or computer, or your true name accounts, be they social media, email, any of that stuff, with what you're trying to do, setting up false accounts, right? False accounts, separated, absolutely separated. You want to make it impossible for somebody to be able to follow you home. Hey, Tor works too. Tor works too. Now, it depends on what you're going to look into. Some things will recognize Tor and will block that, or that will make you seem a little more suspect, right, for an AI program that's looking for people that are trying to hide and to be sneaky. Okay, so here's our art of invisibility. Let's go to the next one. Now I'm going to talk about our invisibility cloaks. No,
Charles, really quick, can you just explain Tor briefly?
Oh, yeah, the onion router. Okay, so the onion router is a way to access, first off, it's one of the strongest VPN type systems that are out there. But it is a system of networks and points of presence from around the world where when you log into Tor, you'll bounce around from these different points. And it's really difficult, if not impossible, I'd love to say impossible, but nothing's impossible, to walk back to you, right? The other thing, a lot of the dark websites require that you have to use Tor to get on there. It's the onion router. If you don't know what it is and you're a security researcher, please, for the love of God, Google it, watch a YouTube video on it. We could spend I just read an entire book about Tor that talked about how it was set up and how you can how you can use it misattributably, but more importantly, how you can crack it and how maybe not nation states are trying to crack it by controlling points of presence on it. But that's a whole separate conversation. Tor's awesome. Google it, spend some time on it. It's lovely. Yeah, it actually was brought to you by DOD when it started, but so was the internet. Don't be all anxious. Don't be all conspiratorial. The internet came from the Department of Defense as well. Trust us, we're the government. All right, let's talk back about invisibility cloaks. First off, these are the other word that we use for these, of course, is sock puppets. What's a sock puppet? This is what you're going to use to go out and do your online research, right? Tor, love it, love it, love it. My man Emilio, there you go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do after we've got our burner phone, after we've got our burner laptop, right, we're going to start creating infrastructure. My recommendation is generally the first thing you should do is set up a Proton Mail account. Why Proton? Because it's the most privacy-focused account. It's not Google. I mean, Gmail is easy to do too, but as soon as you do that, my gosh, they start collecting all kinds of information from you. So you're going to set up your Proton account. But even before you do that, you're going to select your name and you're going to select your persona. Why is that important? Because you want to start to keep track of who you are. I know that sounds wild, but when you start operating in multiple names and multiple aliases and multiple sock puppets, it's important to try to keep track of who you are, because you don't want to log into Jerry Oger's phone from Tom Johnson's, you don't want to log into Jerry's account from Tom Johnson's phone, or you don't want to log into Icklewick's Facebook from Just Ben's Mr. Trib computer, right? You got to keep that stuff straight. All right, so now we're going to set up our email account, and then we're going to start setting up our social media accounts. Here's a challenge for security researchers. And again, I'm not telling you to or not to violate social media accounts terms and conditions or terms of service. Everyone decides what they're going to do and what they're not going to do, and you can do this without doing that. But let's just say hypothetically, if you're creating an account in a different name, just be careful, because what the AI that's looking for bots is going to do, it's going to start saying, is this a real person? And if you're not a real person, you're going to get locked out, right? You're going to get kicked out. So now you've got to start thinking about it. You can't try doing things too quickly. It's one of the reasons I recommend, if you're setting up infrastructure, go step by step and take some time. If you're setting up an email account, send some emails. Sign up for a newsletter. Get something that starts to get some traffic into that account, right? If you start to create a social media account, don't just create a social media account and don't populate it with any information, because that looks like you're creating a burner account just to go after somebody else. All right, so you've got to work against the artificial intelligence efforts to identify bots, and the best way to do that is understand what they're looking for, right? Understand what they're looking for. What does that say? It says, rather than say, is it possible to have the same effect using a VM that I turn on or off as long as I can figure if it passed through or not? Logical, interconnected to my root PC. I would say the answer to that is yes. But again, this depends on how sophisticated you are, right? If you're super sophisticated, you can do a lot of this stuff from the same physical machine. However, you just want to be really careful in doing that. The easiest way to do it is to buy that, the $300 Chromebook or something like that. It's completely separate, or the other burner, or the pre-owned laptop, something like that. If you're going to be doing a lot of work, I don't know. I like completely separate physical infrastructure because it keeps any kind of bleed over or any kind of thing like that. Okay, so work against your AI efforts to identify bots. 2, season your persona. What does that mean? Put some pictures on there. Now, hypothetically, if I were to create an account, I can do a couple of different things. I can use a tool that's called This Person Doesn't Exist. It will use an AI program to create a unique picture of a person that does not exist. Hey, that's great, but it only does one. Right? Hypothetically, the way scammers do this, and again, I'm not suggesting do it or don't, I'm just saying the way a scammer would do this, they would look on Facebook for someone who has an open profile, that matches the type of work you're going to try to do. And then they would just take their photographs. They would take that photograph and use it as their thumbnail. And then they would take those photographs and sort of seed them in. They would start reposting some news articles that would be consistent, all that kind of stuff. Over time, seeding it in. Now, you've got to ask yourself, what do you want that social media for? Do you want it just so that, do you want to create a Facebook account just so that you can look at another Facebook account? Maybe you don't need to season it that much. Or are you going to try to socially engineer somebody with that account? If you're going to do that, then you're going to want to season it a lot more, right? Think more Memphis barbecue rather than, McDonald's hamburgers. Sometimes a McDonald's hamburger is fine. Sometimes you want that Memphis barbecue with as much seasoning as you can get. 4, right? You're going to keep the persona consistent with consistent activity. Again, if you're a young Asian female, right, find things that are consistent with that. Don't be, this is a good time for me to research and read all my Wired articles and all my cybersecurity articles and things like that. You've got to embody the persona that you've created, right? Become that person. And then build out your sock puppet. What does that look like? What's a normal persona have? Well, think about this. What do you have in your normal life? Now, are you a 70-year-old man? Maybe you've got Facebook and maybe you've got email. Fine. Are you an 18-year-old girl? Maybe you've got the Instas and the Snapograms or all that kind of stuff, right? But make your social or make your sock puppet, make your persona consistent with who you are trying to be. Does that make sense? If I'm trying to be a 35-year-old cybersecurity professional, well, then I should have posted into my things. I should have all that stuff lined up consistently, right? Line it up consistently. Okay? Makes sense. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We've talked about that prophylactic, protect yourself when you're going out, right? Through that burner phone, through that burner laptop, through that VPN, all of that. 1, 2. Now we're starting to create our sock puppet, right? We're starting to create that persona that we're going to use to start reaching out and doing our searching, okay? Let's get into now tools. This is awesome. So Jerry said, hey, man, I want you a win at the end of an hour is somebody walks away and they've got 3 or 4 tools that they can use today. How much time do you put towards a sock puppet? Great question. As much time as it needs, but not much more. I tend to find if I'm working against scammers, which I do from time to time, they don't care. They're not doing due diligence on me. I just need enough so that I have a persona that I can reach out to them and say, I'd love to invest in cryptocurrency with you, Nigerian. You seem really legit. And they're not going in to see if I have a LinkedIn and not going in to see if I have a Twitter account. And if I have, how long I've had. You can absolutely make money making sock puppets, Nick. If you're hot to trot on doing that and you can follow a script and follow all that stuff, give me a call. I'll have my contact information at the end. There are certainly people who make money creating and seasoning and maintaining sock puppets. Absolutely. Okay, so let me talk to you about, I'm going to give you 3 ninja throwing stars. But to do that, let me talk to you about the use of a throwing star, right? In general, when we're starting to talk about tools, techniques, and techniques, specifically techniques, here's a couple of things. First, a good OSINT investigator is curious, is absolutely curious. Is asking why. I wonder if, curious, right? I just performed an OSINT on you. Why don't you have your picture up there? Zara, because we're not friends. If you're friends, you can see my picture. But if not, sorry, sister. Plus, I'll show you later how you can even do better OSINT with me. I'll give you one of my throwing stars so you can find as many pictures of my face as you don't want to see. All right, so 1, as an OSINTer, be curious. That is the number 1 thing out there. Be curious. 2, build a profile of your target, right? If my target is Jerry Ogier, I'm going to start with what do I know about him, right? And then what do I want to know about him? Get that methodology. Get that all that, that you're going to look to find out about him, and then start filling it out. Start keeping track. I did say sister. I don't know why I said that. That was freaking weird. Okay. 3, document as you go. What does that mean? Well, 1, it means capture the steps that you're doing, right? Capture the steps that you're doing so that you don't have to go back and reconstruct it. Where did I find that photograph? Where did I find that nugget of piece of information? Information that's not sourced or information that you can't point back to and understand if it's legit or not is worthless. There's data, there's information. What we're looking for is intelligence. OSINT, open source intelligence. Intelligence is information you can trust, information you can verify, and information you can talk about the genesis of. Where's it coming from, right? Document that as you go. 2, screenshot. Screenshotting is your friend. I've had OSINT investigators that have worked before, man, they found the greatest stuff in the world. And I'm like, awesome, did you screenshot it? And they're like, nah, I'll screenshot it later. And they go back and it's gone. And I'm like, come on, man, it's the internet. On one hand, it's there forever. On the other hand, stuff comes and goes. Screenshot as you go. 4, pivot. Pivot. Like Chandler, peace be upon him, and David Schwimmer when they were moving that couch up the staircase in Friends. Pivot. Everything that you're doing as you're going through is just pivot. Find a piece of information, pivot toward it. Find a piece, pivot. Find a piece, pivot. That's where the good stuff is. It's not going to be on the surface. It's going to be after the pivot. What's the tool that auto screen caps? It depends on how you want to do it. A lot of times I'll just screen capture literally, Windows print screen, and I get a screen capture. If I'm doing work on behalf of a legal client where they need things captured in a way that is legally, you can use it in court, that's completely different, right? And there's a couple of different programs for that. But at a minimum, just learn how to screenshot. Okay, pivot. And then, green shot. Definitely green shot. It's like screenshot, but it's greener. It's for St. Patrick's Day. That's what you do on St. Patrick's Day. Okay, 2 types of information. There's publicly available information, PAI, and there's commercially available information. What is the difference? PAI is information that anybody can find and it's free. Commercially available information is information that's out there and it's havable, but generally you have to pay for it. You're paying Green Shot's actually the name of it. That's funny. Okay, so CAI, a lot of times those are just data aggregator sites. For a few bucks, you can use, go to these websites that are already pulling in a lot of information. And sometimes we do that, right? Sometimes we do that because it's just easier. If there's data aggregators that we can trust, I use them. Okay, so that's the basics. Now let's talk about the actual throwing stars. Yeah, just pay a data broker. JFish, bro, that's what I was trying to say earlier. There's a way to do it on the cheap and hard. My company, I buy all the tools. Everything I got money for, I buy, because if someone else is already putting the work into it and I can find something in 2 minutes instead of 2 hours, chances are that's going to be worth that data set. So absolutely. Okay, let's talk about the first throwing star. And you're going to be like, are you kidding me? This is about the most basic possible thing we could talk about. Yeah, it is. But there's a lot of times where we start off with a name and, go after it, right? And we'll go through in our case study. But let's say you get a name. So I'm going to just Google the name. That sounds really basic, and it absolutely is. But that's where you start, right? That's where you start, right? Google it. What are we looking for when we Google it? Well, we're looking for social media accounts. If I find a social media account, now I want to look and see, can I, using my sock puppet, right? Not your true name, using your sock puppet. Look and see if it's an unlocked account or if it's a private account. If it's an unlocked account, get into it. Facebook, I love it. Not as much as crypto, but love it. People that fill out all the data on there, that talk about where they were born and where they work and how long they've been a member of Facebook and who their friends are and who their family is. And then they've got all their photographs. Are you kidding me? Start grabbing photographs. We'll talk about that one in a second. But a lot of times I love family, friends, and photographs. FFP, man, family, friends, and photographs. Why? Even if my target is locked down, which a lot of my targets are, I bet their wife isn't. I bet their husband isn't. I bet their 17-year-old kid isn't. There's a lot of things that you can make. And friends, that's my other one. Hey, I'm looking at a guy. Is he what's this guy's, who is this guy? Look at his friends. When we talk about financial planning, you say you are Your net worth is generally the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who do you spend a lot of time with? People you grew up with or people you work with? People you go to church with? People that are connected to you. Why do I care? Because they can be another vector to come right back on you. Right? I'm going to pivot out and then I'm going to use them as a springboard to pivot back in. Hey, maybe you're super locked down or you never post any photos. You know who does? Your wife. You know who else posts photos? You go to a wedding. You run a 5K. You do any of that stuff. They are posting, and get all up on it. Oh, the other one I like, LinkedIn. Guys, this is low-hanging fruit, but it is shocking how much information you can get from it. LinkedIn, super. You told me where you go to school, told me where you work. Tell me about your, little specific things about you that I can use to collect and build that profile from you. Love it too much. Now, what am I trying to do here? Am I let's say number 3 here, property records. Why do I care about property records? Well, listen, if I'm on, again, a meat face grinder finder fish guy site, and I'm like, hey, is Tina Snowflake that I'm in contact with, she's pretty hot, and so totally she'd be into me. I wonder if she's real. Oh, cool. She says she lives in New York. Awesome. Well, let me find Tina Snowflake and where she lives in New York. Oh, she owns a house? Awesome. Property records are open. You can generally search those pretty easily. Can't find her? Not there. Not there. Right? So I love property records. I love voting records too, for what it's worth. Voting records will also give you a lot of background about where somebody is. Okay, so now that's if you're doing individual searching, right? Now let's talk about those data aggregation sites. Some of them you don't even have to be super fancy with. There are sites like Been Verified where for a couple of bucks a month, you can go in there and you can search on a name, you can search on a phone number, you can search on a lot of different variables, and it will bring you back a lot of information, right? So Been Verified. There's another one called Radaris, where if you go onto Radaris and you search for a name, and oftentimes Radaris search results will come up in your Google. It'll have phone numbers, it'll have relatives, it'll have addresses, it'll have a lot of information you can turn and pivot from, right? Pivot, pivot, pivot. Love it. Pivot. Okay. Now, the most sophisticated kind of searching I find is Google dorking. People have written books about Google dorking. I'm not going to get into it here. Just recognize, LLC, I don't know. LLC, love it too much. Again, it depends. It depends. What are you trying to do? Right? If you're trying to do due diligence on a company, absolutely look at the LLC, look at ownership, look at business structures. Is it structured in a way that makes sense for asset protection and liability protection, or is it unnecessarily structured or over structured so it looks like, okay, there's some potential shenanigans going on here? Now, damn it, Emmanuel, give me just a second. We're going to get there because I love it. You're right into my wheelhouse, my man. All right, so Google dorking. If you don't know what Google dorking is, do a quick search. It'll give you a lot of search terms, but it's a very sophisticated way to find very specific things about a person online. So I'm not, like I said, people write books about this. Take a look at it, right? Google dorking. Okay, that's Ninja Star number 1. Guys, I know this sounds really basic, but much like football, if you can't block and tackle, there's no reason to try to run the double flea, flick, or sweep, right? This is a block and tackle move. If you're really good at this, you're going to get through about 90% of what you need. True story. And if you're curious. All right, this is for Emmanuel. This is my second favorite, and this is a pretty good throwing star right here, if I'm being real honest. I love this one. Facial recognition, okay? It works. You can work from name searches or just from an image. Okay, so we just talked about with that last throwing star, I'm looking for your social media account. Great, what's your social media account have? Generally, photographs. Grab them. Right? Grab them. Grab that face and pivot. Or conversely, there's a lot of times where I may just have a face. Hey, I'm looking to figure out who this is. From a security camera, from my Tesla camera, from whatever. But we're doing facial recognition, no matter where you get the image from. And these things are called either reverse image search or facial recognition tool. Hey, you can Google them. Find the best free social engineer or facial recognition tools out there. Here's a pro tip. Facial recognition tools are very much like credit reports. You can run 3 different tools with the same image and get 3 different results. Does that mean one is better than the other or worse than the other? Maybe, or maybe they just have different data they've collected. So if it's me and it's really important, I'm going to run it through several different channels. Now, if I'm being real honest, I have a super high-end paid service that I use because I'm super high-end. And I'm just kidding. because I'm not smart enough to do a lot of this myself, so I get the best tools, right? So a couple of them that are out there that are really good. PimEyes, I love too much. 10i is okay. Google reverse image search is good. Bing image search is good. Yahoo is okay. Social Catfish, I don't care for it because I feel like it's a bunch of, it gets you going on something, and then right when it's like, hey, I got this cool stuff. Oh, by the way, you got to pay $19 for it now. Well, that's not free. That's just teasing, man. That's just teasing. Face Check ID, I've never used it. Yandex is really good, but Yandex is Russian, right? It's the Russian Google. It's really good, but it is Russian, so I don't know. I don't love it. PimEyes is my favorite, and then Google Reverse Image is good, and Bing. But Yandex is another one that people talk about. Okay, and then how else am I going to find photographs to run through these things? Well, I can find it in social media accounts, news articles. If you Google somebody, just click the images. See if any images come up on somebody. Could be an easy one. And then once you get, the reason why I love facial recognition, oftentimes it will connect accounts that are in different names. So if my face pops up on 5 different social media accounts, awesome, right? Because now I can take the names off of those and I can pivot back. Right? So pivot back to name searching, or it will uncover social media accounts that I didn't find by Googling or something like that. So pivot, name, face. It's a cheer. All right. It's my third and last throwing star for today, and that is a website. If you're going up on a website, and we'll work through this in just a second. I'm going to show you some websites, and I'm going to show you some other things. But let's talk first about if you're, all right, hold on. I just want to make sure I'm still logged into everything I need because I'm getting ready to show you some stuff. All right. So if you're going into a website, the first thing you want to do, look at it. How dumb is that, right? Look at it, read it, navigate around on it from your misinterpretable browser, from your VPN, from something that's not connected to you. Don't forget that piece. However, look at the contact us and the about us. Why? Contact us is going to have phone numbers, emails, physical address, if they're doing it right. About us is going to have the names of the people that are associated with it, things like that. This could also be a source of photographs on the website that you're going to turn around and push back through your facial rec. Phone numbers, what are you going to do when you get a phone number? You're going to Google it, baby. Google. Same with the physical address. Find it. Geolocate it. Is this a physical address that claims to be a business? Awesome. Pop it into Google Earth. Do a little street view walk around. Hell, you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home. Like the good old days where you had to go and check out a website. Nope. I do this all the time. Oh, it's a building? Well, great. What's the building? Oh, it's an abandoned building. It's an abandoned lot. Well, that's a clue in the business, right? Maybe there's some fugazi around this. Take a look at the email addresses, again, to see if there's any additional domains. Big companies don't tend to have Gmails as their connected email accounts, right? If you went to Amazon.com and you tried to contact customer service, and the customer service was customerservice@gmail.com, smell a rat, right? Because maybe you spelled Amazon with 2 Z's or something like that. And then the last, and again, this is a whole nother topic, but cryptocurrency wallets. I love crypto wallets because you can do a lot of blockchain forensics and find a lot of information on that. If you're interested in learning more about crypto or blockchain forensics, that's a separate course that we offer. I'll give you an opportunity on that later. Okay, so now once you've done just a good old-fashioned liberal arts review of the website, now we're going to pop up in the hood just a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Scammer or threat actor. Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to use tools like domain lookup tools, including, shockingly enough, domain tools, or ICANN, or Whois. Why are we using these tools? By just putting the URL into these tools, they will tell you when the website was created, where it was created. If they're not using some kind of privacy services, you will get the company that created it. You will get potentially the name. You will get potentially the phone number. I am shocked by people that put their true name stuff in there. But hey, some people, I guess, like other people and are trusting. I don't know. I'm not. But then what do you need to know when you do that and you don't actually see any names? What you start to see are things like Name Silo or Namecheap, etc. These are privacy services that you spend money on that will register the websites in their names. So that's kind of a dead end at that point. But that's okay. You at least have to go through the motions, and you never know. I used to have a boot camp. When I was in boot camp, my company commander would talk about when he was on a ship. I was in the Navy. Did so well in high school, I got to enlist in the Navy. So he used to talk about when he was in the fleet. He'd say, man, the ship's officer would tell even the fat, ugly guys, man, sometimes you got to go out on liberty. You got to go out. You got to get off the ship. Sometimes you get lucky just by being out there. That's what you're doing here when you're looking at a website. You're going for the high-level stuff, and then you're going for the cheap, easy wins. And I say, in a lot of times on OSINT, cheap, easy wins are where it's at, right? You would love to say, well, I use this super complicated double FUD dribble tool. You'd be shocked how many cheap and easy wins there are out there. People don't know how to lock their stuff down. All right, so that's our third Ninja Star. So we talked about names, we talked about faces, and we talked about websites. Let's go through it. Let's take a walk, shall we? All right, this is a active investigation. So if you are out there, we are on your ass. And if you're not, that's okay, because I'm still on you. All right, so check it. Here's what we've got. This is a romance scam. I'm not going to get into the details of the victim, but there was a gentleman who lost a fair amount of money to this person, claiming to be They call me up and they're like, man, what can we do here? Help me out. And I say, okay, let me see what I can do for you. So now I'm going to try to switch this around. I'm going to try to show you a couple of tools I use and work through the process. Okay, so if you can't see something, just help me out here. And Jerry, help me out on this. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to come back and share.
Yep, I got you.
My man.
I'm loving it. I'm telling you, chat's enjoying the crap out of this. We got 164 people steady throughout. Students are eating up some Charles Finfrock. Might have to get your own YouTube channel, pal.
Interesting. Well, hey, just as a quick survey while I'm out there, if I had my own YouTube channel, like once a week or something like that, would you guys tune in and see what I was working on?
All right, I'll throw a poll in chat.
That is a yes or no for Jerry. That one's a yes or no.
Would you tune into Charles Finfrock live streams? Hold on, Charles Finfrock weekly live streams. Let me see.
All right.
That is yes or no. All right, so here we go, Charles.
So first thing I want you to see here, I am in a separate container. Now, I am not a paid spokesman for this company, but I love it, love it, love it. It's a company called Silo, and or the browser is called Silo. The company's called Authenticate. Outstanding tool. What it does, it provides you protection and a secure container. So you're going through their VPN, and if you're going out somewhere nasty and you're trying to bring something back nasty, it separates it from your computer. Love it. Good price point. Love the company too much. All right, so let's start. So what do we say we're going to do? Well, first thing we're going to do is Google. Let's Google old girl. ERDO. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front, I look at that name and I'm like, I'm not feeling strong that we're going to get a lot of useful stuff here. Fair enough, right? Now, let's go through, and not really seeing any love here, not seeing much love. Let's just for funsies. And, I'm like a first page kind of guy. If I'm not seeing anything I love on a name like this, I'm probably going to move on. Wait, does Diet Mountain Dew cause erectile dysfunction? I'm going to have to bookmark that for later. I like Diet Mountain Dew. Oh, I guess I can answer. No, it doesn't. Okay, so ERDO and just for funsies, right? So let's get up in here and see if any of these people are our target. That is, in fact, not the target that we're looking for, but that's okay. All right, so a name search. Hey, listen, sometimes a name search isn't gonna give you the love you want. That's all right. Let's try a different tool. Okay, so our first ninja throwing star, Witha. We missed the target, right? No love. Hey, stuff happens. Wait, am I still here?
You are very much still here.
Son of a gun, where'd you go? Okay, here we go. All right. So that's throwing star number one was a no-hitter. Stuff happens.
You got to share
now
your
let's
screen
go.
again now. You got to share your screen again.
Yep. I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. All right, let's go number two. The cool thing is, I got old girl's face. And so I had her, and let me just jump to the conclusion here. I did have a Facebook account for her. So in a separate configuration where I had my hypothetically, if I had sock puppets on Facebook, I used one of those to log in, connect with her, and rip her face off of there. It happens. All right, so now I'm going to go into PEMI. This is one of the facial recognition tools. Let's see what we can find, shall we? Oh, here's a little yum yum. I mean, do. Let's see what we can find. Now, you can add in more photos for a better result, but let's see. Let's just see. And yeah, you confirm everything. We're not going to stalk her or murder her or anything like that. Those are the terms of service. Oh, what do we got now? So here's my face, right? We should take a poll on which one you guys want to click on, but let's just click on one, this one, right? So this is supposed to be, hold on. Don't look. I'll stop sharing real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can pull it off stage.
That's all right. I think I got her.
Well, while we're doing this, the poll has ended, and 96% of people with over 100 voting would like the Charles Finfrock weekly lives. So,
well, that
Charles may become a student of mine. I will be doing how to launch a YouTube channel and a podcast here pretty soon in 2024. So Charles may be a beta student.
How honored would I be to be a student of Dr. Yoda, Jerry Oger?
That's awesome.
Dr. Yoda. All right, so where were we here? Oh, yep, hold on.
About to drop into some Pim eyes.
Yeah.
And ixnay on the Erdermay
right.
keywords. Okay,
yeah.
Let me know when you share your screen. I'll share it. And I'm like,
right,
I'm assembling something here while we're working. So.
All right, we're back. All right, here we go.
That's you.
Are we back?
You shared the wrong screen. You shared the wrong screen.
Ah, dagger.
You shared your restream feed.
Yeah, that's not helpful, is it? All right, here we go. How about now?
Yep, we got you.
Awesome. All right, where were we? Where were we? Here we go. Here's where we were. So again, this was one of the fluff old girl's Facebook account. And what am I doing now? Pivot. Let's see what we got. Oh, and if you did notice that for $29.99 a month, you can have 25 searches a day. Which one do we want to click on? Let's click on this one. Ooh, she looks like she's probably I don't know. Never mind. I don't want to. Well, listen, OSINT will take you places you never imagined. So just thick skin. We're all grown-ups here. Let's see what we got.
Just ignore me, but I'm going to stay on. I'm going to stay on channel right now while we got you.
Yeah.
Dicey.
Okay.
So
now, who is this?
Yeah.
Right. So this is a romance scamming person. Well, what was the story? Well, the story was there's a guy who's in love with this girl because she's a real estate agent in New York. Right? Real estate agent in New York. I don't think so, as it turns out. So what we've been able to find based on photographs and everything. Stop.
This is my educational YouTube channel, bro.
Dude.
Okay.
All right, new search. All right, let's take a new photograph. Right? And again, guys, this is life of an O center. I've got one of my guys who is just super tired of looking at really nasty grinder stuff. And I'm like, hey, bro, clients are the clients, man. We got to go to work. I can't, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. All right, so here's another one. Same girl. Interesting, right? Does this to anybody else look like a real estate professional out of New York State? Could be, but probably not. So what is this telling me? A couple of things. One, this is probably, gal is a fitness model, right? This is probably not who she claims to be. But what is it? Well, what is this is someone who's got a wide profile, right, online. So they're easy. You can rip her face. Remember how I told you the challenge of this person doesn't exist? You only get one picture. Well, this scammer has found someone who's got open profiles and has just went in and grabbed faces and bodies and everything else. I've also worked on other clients, again, where I do a face check and it's like, hey, this guy's actually a fitness model out of Bulgaria. This is a true one. A gal who lost $2.3 million. Took me a half a second to find the face, fitness model out of Bulgaria who had shot quite a bit of, and again, not judging, had shot quite a bit of homosexual porn. Well, when the scammers were sexting back and forth with my client, they were able to show explicit images that made it my client seem like they were receiving real explicit images. Well, how did they get the explicit images? Because the guy was doing porn, right? The girl was doing porn. Now, let me tell you a funny one, man. I was working on this one target and I was socially engineering them. And it was funny because they were afraid they're being socially engineered. So I set up a whole bunch of different people that were in the channel. And some of them were really savvy and some of them weren't. And so I would mess with them with the guys that weren't savvy. So they thought that they were easily knocking these guys down. All the while I'm really sophisticated and I'm getting to be their best friend. But I had grabbed this, let me see, I'd done some research from this website. You guys probably have never been there or heard about it, but it's called Pornhub. And so I grabbed the face out of a young actress there and put her as my face. And she was too pretty. And I was trying to get somebody to meet me in real life. And, oh, I loved it. The funniest thing I ever saw, one of the guys is like, oh, yeah, right. Me dox you long time. I was like, oh, come on, that's funny. Me dox you long time. So I used to have that up on my board for a long time. Me dox you long time. All right. So you see how useful a face search can be. I can tell you pretty quickly, probably not a real estate professional from New York based on these photos. Now, I won't bother you with the YouTube video I found that also would indicate that not a professional. Or at least not a professional real estate person. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Let's attack the website, shall we? That's the third ninja star. Let me see if I can just jump right to it. Some bitch. All right, hold tight. Here's the reason why, guys. Here's one of the biggest reasons why I tell you, don't use your true name computer, because very quickly, and I just saw when I went to those other sites, they dropped me out of the secure container. So I was no longer in a secure container when I was hitting those Chinese sites. Now, luckily, my stuff's pretty locked down and I'm through a couple of levels of VPNs anyway. But if you weren't and you were relying on this tool I was using and you did something like that, now you're out of the tool, right? That's a problem. Okay, let's take a quick look at the website. And then we're only going to do an hour here. So if anybody wants to hit the restroom, just hang tight. So let's do what we were doing, right? So what did I say the first thing to do was? Here's the website for investing. Awesome. Let's just take a look. Let's just take a look, shall we? Okay, so far so good. Looking pretty savvy. Interesting. All right. Some dynamic content. Buy crypto instantly. Learn about stuff. All right. So, okay. Oh, interesting. It's even got apps you can download. Well, let's try to download, shall we? If you click on it, all it shows you is a QR code, right? No other way on there to download it. So you're not going through the App Store. That's a problem. All right. How about what we talked about earlier, the help link here, edxmarkets.77@gmail.com. There is an EDX Markets, but it is not this. They're impersonating that site. So here's second red flag. A third red flag that this one doesn't have a lot of times, it's poor English on the site. All right, Margarita. Okay, so let's try the About Us, like we talked about there. What's in the About Us? What? It is ripped right out of the About Us from the real website. Let's look at home. Let's go to. Oh, how about all of the links where it's taking us, or all of the. Let me see. Where's my FAQs? My FAQs on this one are really good. Hold on. The FAQs were great because it was all about what happens when your money gets locked. And that is part of the scam, right? So check this out. Help Center, serving you anytime, anywhere, common problems. What's cryptocurrency? Do you need real name authentication? Now, one of the cool things about these scams, yes, they do, and they're stealing your identity at the same time they're stealing your money. It's a twofer. What is frozen assets? Frozen assets is part of the scam where they claim that you were frozen. that your funds are frozen and you have to pay new money to get your funds unfrozen. It's just another way to get more money out of you. And then the last bit, so if we, like we were talking about before, let's just do a quick, who is, okay, let's jump in here really quickly. Okay, so we're going to go into, this is the actual site. .net, that's another way. All right, so what do we see here? They're using privacyguardian.org. So they're using privacy services that are masking their own name. So what can I learn from this? One of the things I can learn is this site was only registered on July 13th. Well, EDX Markets that this is impersonating has been around for a long time, right? So this site's only been around for 90 days or so. Again, when you go into the raw data, you can see a lot of this information in there. They're using privacy services also. Not a lot we can go on here. But this is a live case. I'm working on it now. I've pretty much got it knocked down. But I just need to work on the report. All right, guys, we are at the top of the hour. I hit you right about, well, it's 56 minutes. Questions. And I know I went fast, but what I wanted to do is give you just a couple of big picture thoughts, a couple of, let me get back to my Prezi here. Hold on.
We can bring that in. I know a lot of people are loving this content, and you had mentioned, and I want to know more about it. You had mentioned offering training. I know you mentioned about the YouTube channel, but I think you already have training available, correct?
I'm glad you asked. As it turns out, if you're interested in receiving any information about our training, you can send me an email. You can hit me up on phone, Signal. Best way to do is send it an email, and I'll send to Jerry a couple of the online courses that we've got. Price points on them are relatively friendly for people just getting started in the business, and we go as deep as you want to go. But anyway, this is I love me some Jerry too much. He's a great guy, great friend, has done so much for me, and I learned so much when I talked to him, and love it too much. So this was my honor to do this for him and for you guys. I guess, yeah, we've got 30 seconds. Anybody have any questions?
Let's open it up, people. Here, open it up. Maybe we can do it. What's this look like when we do it this way? Guys, what questions you got for Mr. Finfrock, Mr. Charles Finfrock? Everybody's loving it. Lots of people saying they loved it. Space Tacos, when's your first live stream? Let me know. We're gonna have to get you sorted out, James. I mean, Charles, with a live stream. People are demanding it right now.
I guess, man. I guess. Well, I guess we'll do it. All right, guys. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, if you have any interested in follow-on training or anything like that, shoot me a note, and I'll probably send a calendar out through Jerry as well. But love you guys too much, man.
Yeah,
go out there and find the bad guys.
And I'll make this training available. I'll probably pull it down from YouTube for a second, and then I'll make it available afterwards to the Simply Cyber community. I will screenshot and put, actually, let me do this really quickly. Let me go full screen.
Hemoglobin there, really quickly. How long does it take to get information on targets? It depends, man. I know some people that are very methodical, and it takes them hours. As you can probably imagine from the way I work, dude, I knock down stuff 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't mess around just because time's money, and I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I go after it.
I'm dropping on the Discord server for all of you. I'm dropping on the Discord server, the Simply CyberCon, Charles's contact information. So if you want to get with him, I mean, obviously you can easily ask me, but it'll be right there, and you can definitely get to it.
Zahra, I don't want to shoot you down, my girl, but there's one. I'm glad you actually did that. There's one more thing, guys. Information is only as good as what is, what you find is only as good as what it is. I used to live in Fairfax, Virginia. I no longer live there. You can probably find out where I am now, but joke's on you. I haven't actually updated my LinkedIn.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, if you guys, thank you very much, Charles. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Again, this is the first of many events for Simply CyberCon this week. We're going to have Mike Miller's LinkedIn profile tune-up event tomorrow at noon Eastern. It will be on Mike's channel. I will not have it on the Simply Cyber channels. And then obviously on Wednesday, we're going to have all the tracks and talks and all that. So Wednesday's the big day. And then Friday, we're going to have our very own Jack Scott doing NIST cybersecurity framework and everything you guys need to know to be epic at crushing that as well. Charles, thank you so much for your time today. All of you in chat, 176 of you. Charles, you banged it out, my friend. Thanks so very much, and stay tuned for Charles's YouTube channel coming soon.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, that's going to do it for today. Until next time, y'all, stay secure. I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.